microphones this week to try and get the questions picked up better on the stream. So wait for those to come around for your questions, and Coach will start with you. Way to say it.
First of all, excited about having an opportunity to get that win and excited about our next opponent, obviously Clemson. Good news about Andre Miller being out of the hospital and back at West Point. We're all excited about that. Orange out, homecoming, all same weekend, and we're expecting a huge crowd. And I know they will be in the right frame of mind for the Clemson Tigers. Game balls on offense, defense, and special teams. On special teams was Jack Stonehouse. Damian Alford was on offense, and Elijah Clark, a.k.a. Cinco, was on defense. Questions?
We'll start right here with Emily in front. We'll go to Tommy next after that.
Big week, obviously. Is this on?
Just speak like it's for the stream.
Okay. Big week, obviously, this week. I just wanted to touch base on some personnel things to start. Jeremiah Wilson got a little shaken up on Saturday. How's he doing?
Should be okay.
Kalen Ellis still out. You expecting him to be back soon?
Don't know when.
Joe Moore was suited but didn't play Saturday. Expect him to be suited again and maybe available this week?
I hope so.
And then Trevor Pena played, but he's still not on the depth chart. Where's he at health-wise?
Not quite sure yet.
Tommy?
Coach, for the first time in history, Otto's Army will be camping out for this Syracuse-Clemson game. What does that mean to you? Is this something you see yourself going and checking out here later this week?
Yeah, I'll go out there and check it out. It'll be really cool. So I've seen it at other places. I've seen it at other universities. I'm glad that it finally got here.
We'll go Chris in front, and then right there to Citrus and back after that.
Dino, Clemson's probably had the most success containing Garrett over the course of his time here. What improvement has he made that sort of gives you the most optimism that he'll be able to have a great game against Clemson?
Well, I just think he's looking forward to the opportunity. We like playing those guys. They've beaten us a lot. We feel like we like playing them. We know that they're the best, and it gives you an opportunity to go against the best.
Probably very self-evident, but what is it about Clemson that has given him the most trouble?
Who is he?
Garrett, in your offense.
I don't know when you say he's given him much trouble. Garrett's had decent games against Clemson.
Coach, in what ways has Damian Alford grown as a leader in this locker room throughout the season? Yeah,
and a great deal. Damian, his language barrier, I say this all the time, Damian, Matthew Bergeron, English is their second language. So for those guys to be able to be captains and communicate with us, and thank goodness we don't have to communicate with them using our French. Those guys are sharper than the average Joe. So it's cool to see him in that leadership role. It was great to see him step up, and hopefully he'll have games like that or even better games.
We'll go to Tyler in front, and then Henry right here.
So, Coach, just looking at this year's Clemson teams compared to last year's teams, any similarities or differences that stick out to you?
Yeah, I think they're still a championship caliber team. I mean, they were, 6-12 inches from winning the game this week. They beat them statistically in every category. They beat Duke statistically in every category. This is what they are. This is a championship, big-time football team coming in here.
Just after watching the film again, what did you see from the offensive line, and how do you think, is there anything different from since week one?
I think that they're starting to gel a little bit better together. We're having success, so it's just a matter of them guys getting used to each other and feeling comfortable with the guy next to them.
Anything noticeable from the Army game?
Yeah, they hung together. They were a little frustrated in the first half, but when you only get 17 snaps in the first half, it leads to frustration. But the second half, they went into halftime, made our adjustments, and I thought they came out the second half, and they were totally different.
Back to Emily in front here. Kind of your microphone light.
I know you don't like to look back too much, but obviously this Clemson game last year was kind of a turning point in the season for you guys. I'm just curious what lessons you and you think the players are kind of bringing from that experience in that game and into this year's game.
I think the biggest thing was the game is so physical. The turning point was it was 15 rounds. We didn't get the decision at the end, and we were beat up.
Questions? We'll go to Jesse in back and then down back here to Tyler.
Dino, I know a lot of the players have talked about keeping a level head as the season progresses. Obviously 4-0, homecoming, Clemson in town this week. How does you as a coaching staff also help them kind of not get too high and not get too low, as they like to say?
I think the team has exactly the right attitude. We look at everything 1-0. When we had our meeting in here on Sunday, the coaches will lay out the game plan. We will do actually almost nothing when it comes to motivation this week. They enjoy playing this team, and we always get the best out of that team when we play them. The biggest thing is for the guys that are in here that's never played before, and for those guys to figure it out this week that they need to step up their game because they're playing one of the top teams in the conference.
Coach, Syracuse is one of 6 undefeated teams right now in the ACC. What are your thoughts on just the strength of the conference as a whole right now?
Said it many times, I'll say it again, the coaches in this league people underestimate them. And that's why they leave this league and they go to the SEC, and they leave this league and they go to the Big Ten. Okay? They underestimate the value of the coaches in this league.
Coach, Clemson's running game, specifically Will Shipley, where do you see his success coming from as a player when you watch him?
He's a balance. He's almost a clone to our guy. I see him as a senior, older LaQuinn Allen. He is very good running the football. He's exceptional as a receiver, a dynamite blocker, and he doesn't give up. You know, he's an NFL player, and he'll play for a long time because he has multiple skills.
Coach, last year versus Clemson, DJ Uyunglele got benched for Cade Klubnik. Klubnik's really been the guy since. How have you seen Klubnik grow since that game last year?
If you watch the Florida State game, he's throwing BBs. He's throwing dimes. You look at the yardage, look at the completion that he did against Florida State, and they were playing numerous coverages against him, and it didn't matter. There was I've been watching tape since 2:25 this morning. Not that details are important. But there was a play in the Florida State game where, he knows he's about to get hit, and he just holds it, lets it go, gets hit, and it looks like it was a dig combination. And, you could just see his eyes. The cameras were perfect where you could see his eyes, and he didn't flinch a lick. And when you got guys that will stand in there and hold the ball to the very last second before they pull trigger on it to get that receiver get a little bit more open, that's when you know those guys are special.
Brett?
Coach, you mentioned some of the competitive games you've had with Clemson. When you are competitive with them, what's the common denominator there? Is it the physicality that you brought up?
It's the physicality. If you don't match their physicality, you can't compete with them. And it comes at a huge cost. Or, I think about my movie reference with Rocky. There's going to be pain, and you're going to have to battle through it.
Emily here, and then Henry after that.
Interesting coordinator matchup here in this one with you got kind of the guru, the old guy, Rocky, for you guys on defensive coordinator, and then Clemson's just brought in young guy, Garrett Riley. I'm just curious what you're looking forward to maybe about that chess match between their offense, your defense, and those two coordinators.
It's never between the coaches. It's never between the coordinators. It's always about the players. And the players have to take the test. The test is a physical test and a mental test. The coaches are like GAs or TAs. They get to help them with the test, but they can't really give them the answer. They've got to figure out some of that stuff for themselves. We can help them along. We can make adjustments, but they've got to go out there and they've got to do it. They've got to make the plays. So, I get it, older versus younger and name versus name. I get all that stuff. But it really comes down to the players.
What was just the specific injury that Isaiah Jones suffered that's leaving him out now?
When we talk about injuries, I don't like to be specific because now the players, if you put that in the print, then later on the players that play against them know that they've had an injury on this leg or that leg or that shoulder. So I don't like to get very specific. It's a lower body injury, and it happened in the Purdue game.
Back to Emily and Chris in front.
The officiating played a big role in the Clemson game last year. Obviously, that type of stuff is out of your guys' control. But how do you prep players to try and minimize things that could cause those types of game-turning calls?
We understand that when we're playing Clemson, that we have to be ready to understand that the calls may not always go our way, and you have to knock the champ out. You gotta beat him twice. And if you don't deserve to get the win. We understand all that stuff.
Do you feel like that's particularly heightened against Clemson, or is that just a general thing for you guys?
It's just a general thing for us.
Chris?
It was noticeable, Dino, that there were a couple times where the officials sort of held up your offense when maybe you wanted to go faster. Was that longer than usual, or what did you make of that?
I will say this, okay? There is nothing finer than our military. Nothing operates at a higher level than our military. And you really don't want our military after you. And I will say that those substitutions were done in a military fashion.
Dino, guys like Max Maying and Dan Villari, what have you seen from them as, I guess as the season has gotten underway, and what do you hope to see from the tight end group as the season progresses?
Again, when it comes to any position in our offense, they have to carve out their own niche. I think that Max Maying has done some things for us in the past that's been good. We're glad that he's still available to us. Villari did one or two things that was kind of different, and it'll be interesting to see if he can continue to do those different things for us.
Coach, to kick off ACC conference play with Clemson at home, what does that mean to you and your team?
It gives us an opportunity to be 1-0 in conference, but it's going to be a tall, tall task. These guys are the same champions that they've always been. There's a reason why they've won so many championships and they've been in the Final Fours. Their athletes are different. Their amenities are different than other people. And I'm sure they're going to come in here and they're going to bring a whole bunch of fans, and there's going to be two types of orange in the dome. And hopefully it's more our color than theirs.
We'll go back to Chris in front.
Tino, I think the outside perception is probably that you guys have done an excellent job taking care of business, and let's find out how good this team is. Do you share that curiosity, or do you feel like you know at this point?
First of all, I think that, again, last year when we played Purdue and we beat them, and everybody thought, oh my God, they're not very good, and they won their side of the conference over there in the Big Ten and played in the championship game. But since we beat them, they were supposedly not that good. I don't think our team even looks at that stuff. Everyone else from the outside can say those things. We get an opportunity to play the Clemson Tigers, Dabo Swinney, and everything that represents. And we enjoy that game.
Tommy?
Coach, people at the game, when the team's coming out of the tunnel, there's that moment of pause until you get the cue to run out there. Normally I see you looking up, looking around. What's going through your mind? What are you thinking about?
They don't let me go up and look around anymore. There's this lady that gives me this hand that keeps me way back before. I used to be able to come out and I can look, oh, we got that. Oh, that's filled. It's going to be loud up here today. Whoever the new lady is, she doesn't let me come out as far as I used to come out.
We'll take a couple more. We'll start with Brent in front.
Coach, pardon if I missed this going back to Friday, but you mentioned amenities. I just kind of wanted to get your take on everything that's going on around us, and if you feel that's going to be on par with Clemson and the rest of the league.
I'm not going to say Clemson. I think it's going to definitely be better for us. I mean, I've seen the drafts. I know what they're about to build, and I believe it's going to be done in 2 years, and sorely needed. What's the word? Give it to me. Needed. And then we'll be able to move on from there. Okay, we'll be able to move on from there.
Last question, if anybody's got it. Go to Chris. Finish us off.
I'll just keep it along those lines, Dino. But is there any amenity that you guys are going to have in there that you think is the most beneficial or will provide the biggest help?
Like the what? What was the last thing you said?
The biggest help to you as a coach?
You said the biggest help for me is
Yeah.
Ask me what I thought he said after this. This will be really good. Here's the biggest thing. There's a certain look. I don't know, I might have been here, I've never told this story. I might have been here a year and a half, just working 2016, 2017. And then finally I was like, okay, I'm going to go see Coach Boeheim. And I hadn't been over there. Okay, so it's 2017. And then I walked, I'm like, where's his office? Where's it? So I'm walking over there unannounced, because he's great, Coach Boeheim's great, unannounced. And I'm walking over there, and then I walk into Mello for the very first time. And I was like, oh. And then I went up the stainless steel elevator, and I mean, this is nice. And then I just wanted to see what the bathroom looked like. So I went into the bathroom like, whoa, oh my goodness. So that was in 2017. It's going to be cool to have some, maybe some people reacting like that on the stuff that we're going to have in 2025.
All right. Thanks, everybody. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
Their bathrooms are so